The Healing Spring Show, healing families and communities by breaking the stigma of addiction and expanding the scope of recovery. Now here's your host, John Edmondson.
Welcome back to the Healing Spring Show, and welcome back to another opportunity to grow, to heal, to learn. The question today is, can sobriety, can recovery be fun, exciting, engaging? I have the person who can answer that question. M2, The Rock, is here with us today to talk all about it. M2, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here today.
Yeah.
And Healing Springs is just, what a great, look at this place. This place is just awesome. I'm looking forward to coming out and seeing it.
Looking forward to having you.
We talked about it before the show, and I'm going to be out there. And I know a lot of people that are a part of Healing Springs, and huge supporter. I just think y'all got great stuff going on.
Oh, we appreciate it. And we're big fans of you. I mean,
thank you.
Giving that message that I watched the other day, and I was just amazed how you just continue to address the truth of the suffering, but then at the same time really bringing in solutions.
Right. And I deal with a disease. I do have a disease. I process alcohol and narcotics differently than the normal person.
Mm-hmm.
I have the disease is cunning, it's baffling, it's powerful. The disease talks to me in my own voice. The disease tells me that I don't have a disease. The phenomenon of craving is there. All these things where I'm dependent upon drugs and alcohol. And it made my life completely unmanageable. And I was completely powerless over drugs and alcohol. And the pain got so bad that I finally realized that I was powerless over alcohol. And I had to surrender and listen to professionals and listen to other men in recovery and take their suggestions. Sometimes I didn't like them. They were uncomfortable. Because I was scared, is what it boiled down to. But once I did that, my life has been nothing but incredible. And you started out earlier saying, can recovery be fun? Yeah. Absolutely. I am having a blast today. And my life today, I could have never dreamed it'd be like this.
So that's what I want to talk about. So some of the people watching the show are going to be, our awesome clients that are in recovery right now. And they're phenomenal people trying to make that change. We have our alumni group, and they're just incredible. And we're having that alumni event coming up, and we're going to see all that in that story. And there's also people that we want to come in, either get help with us or get help somewhere. Can you talk a little bit about your story? What was it like leading up to this? Was it just overnight, or how did it happen for you?
I was born with this disease. I truly, without getting it, if the debate, is it a disease or not a disease? Right. For me, it is a disease. I choose to treat it like a disease so I can live. Or I can choose not to treat it like a disease and die. That's simple. And so at a very young age, and the reason why I know alcohol and drugs are so powerful in my life, because when I was 10 years old, I was mowing the yard. And I always say this, I remember the number of clouds in the sky. I remember the direction the lawnmower was facing. I remember the wind. Wow. I remember the temperature. And I remember my dad walking out with a Schlitz beer with the tab that pulled off that you could flick in the street, back in the day.
That sound when you took it.
Yeah, everything. The details, and I'm sitting here describing my first drink. Now, I bring my dad in because he brought it, and he says, hey, why don't you come over here? And I sat down in the planter box with him, and we were just talking, and he says, would you like a sip of my beer? My dad may drink 2 beers a year. He is not one of us. I have spilt more alcohol in one night than he's drinking in his whole life, right? Yeah. And so I want to paint that going, oh my God, your dad's the villain. No, he's not. So I drank that first sip of alcohol. And something happened. Something happened. It went into my body. It went into me. The taste, as I'm telling you this, I remember the taste. I can taste it now. And that taste I loved. And then I had another one, and my stomach just melted like icing. Something happened. And for me, it was a spiritual awakening. I didn't have that first drink because I had a resentment. I didn't have that first drink because I was angry. I drank and did drugs from that day forward because I like the effect.
And you knew right then.
I knew
10
right
years
then
old.
something happened.
Something was different.
Now, the next day, did I rush and go get a beer? No. But something happened, and I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
I didn't know it was the beer. But for me, being a human being, when I felt anxious, I felt fear, I felt angry, I felt excited. I didn't know how to process these feelings. And what alcohol did for me was slow things down where I thought I was living in the now. And so when my brain would start thinking about the future, I would get very anxious and fearful, paranoid, and I didn't like that feeling. So then I would go to my past, and when I think about the past, I would be in guilt, shame, and remorse. I didn't like that feeling, so I would go back and forth, back and forth. But when alcohol and drugs were introduced to me, it created this delusion where I could live in right now. I didn't think about this or feel it. I didn't think about this or feel this. So alcohol and drugs made me think I was being normal like people that I saw. Because the way I felt and thought, I would see other people living their life, appearing to be happy, joyous, and free, and I thought I was doing something wrong. Why can't I be like that person? I was delusional.
I wonder how many people out there are thinking that and connected to them, even not for alcohol, for other things, was I just want to be normal.
Right.
I just want to feel good.
Right. And so today, that's why when I say I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic, I'm a grateful recovering drug addict, because I recognize it. And today I have a program because of people like Healing Springs and professionals and other alcoholics and, all these other people that have brought these solutions. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the way life's supposed to be. And now I have tools. I am a 12-step guy. I am very faith-based. Jesus Christ is my higher power. It works for me. And now I understand this stuff, and now I have tools. When I get in fear, and I have tools to use it. As a result of, I don't use drugs and alcohol anymore, right? But I can't imagine the businessman that's not a drug addict or an alcoholic when he doesn't have these tools. He's in fear, and he's anxious and all of that.
Right.
What is his escape? A lot of times it's pornography, gambling, infidelity, spending, more work, workaholism, and all of these things. And it's that deadly cycle, and they don't have that inner peace.
Wow, that's powerful. You actually sound a lot like our clinical director, Melissa. She says the exact same thing. Let's broaden that span of what addiction really is.
Right.
We were talking to someone the other day, and like, man, I'm so glad I don't have addiction. It's like, well, maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Right.
But there's another part that you're talking about, which is the exciting part. I want everyone to hear is some people say, man, I'm so glad I didn't have to go through that. I don't have it. But you're almost saying, like, this is something that made you a better man in a way. And that life is actually better now because of the experience.
Right. When I speak, I speak a lot, and I'm not unique. I'm not unique. Now, my gift, my God-given gift, is speaking and spreading the message. God used me. I have a dramatic story. That's what I'm told. I've got 27 mugshots. I've done prison time.
27 mugshots.
27 mugshots. And I'll never forget this. So my very first mugshot was in 2010. And when I was arrested, I was in Dallas Lusterit Justice Center. And I'm sitting there and I'm seeing all these guys coming in, and I'm getting this mugshot. I was devastated. I was scared to death. I was becoming that guy I said I would never be. I wasn't there I was there for a DWI and a second-degree felony of controlled substance. It was the real deal. This was a real charge. And I had become that guy, and I was devastated. I was holding on for dear life with my home building company, and I was holding on ego, pride, and grandiosity. And all I was worried about was my reputation. Okay.
Yeah, how you look in the community.
Yeah, because I'm so delusional. I really think people are waking up in the morning thinking about me, right? And so all this stuff is happening, and John, I thought I prayed to God. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so scared. I was like, this is it. I am at my rock bottom. I'm never, ever doing this again. I'm never drinking again. I'm never doing drugs again. I'm tired of this life. I'm making a change right here, right now. And I meant it.
You felt it.
I meant it with every ounce of blood in my willpower body. Willpower body. I got bonded out the next day, okay, by family.
Right.
Devastating. We've never experienced stuff like this. How do you bond someone out? How do you do this? And I got out, and that night I drank, and I got high on speed again. 8 hours after I got out, all right, I was powerless over this, and I justified it. I need it because guess what? When I got out, I started thinking of the future. I got to make the comeback. It made me anxious. I was uncomfortable. I didn't like that, so I go to the past, and I go, I'm a loser. I just got arrested. I've lost my family. I'm losing everything around me. I am a loser, so I'm struggling with shame. I didn't like that, so what do? I go back to when I was mowing the yard when I was 10 years old because I need that. And so I drank, and I said, I'm just gonna drink
Just a little bit.
just tonight.
Yeah.
I just got out of jail, right? I mean, I'm stressed out. Okay, and so I drank and did drugs. You ready? 26 mugshots after that arrest. I finally put the sword down.
Wow.
After I said I would never do it again, and I meant it. So if you're out there struggling, I get it, but 27 mugshots, I finally put the sword down. And today I can finally answer the question, what happened? What's different? Because that's what everybody would say when I would get out. So what's different now?
What are you going to do this time?
What are you going to do
gonna be
this
different?
time? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm never doing this again. Yeah, we've heard that before. At first it's, okay, we hear you. What can we do to help you?
Yeah,
and
first couple times.
Yeah,
maybe.
and each mugshot's like, and then after that, and then it got to the point where there was nobody there to greet me when I got out. I went straight to a homeless shelter, or I went to a trap house, or I went to, and that's where this disease. We don't drink up, we drink down. And I literally was I was living in a stolen Suburban behind the bait shop at a lake.
And when people think of alcoholics, I hear this all the time. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't live on the street. I'm not alcoholic. I don't live under a bridge.
Yet.
You didn't start that. So that's what they see. You didn't start that way. So the business people out there who are listening to this, maybe the high rollers, entrepreneurs, are going, that's not going to happen to me, or that's not me. What was your story before? Were you someone that was like that?
Yes, I'm that guy. I was very high. I was very stubborn because what I did is my survival tools is that I would always gravitate towards visible things to fix my invisible problems. Okay, so if I was going to go dry for a couple of days and I wasn't going to drink or do drugs, I would dive into work. Okay, and I would dive into work, and you know what was fueling me to work that day? Resentment. I'm gonna make the comeback. I'm going to show everybody here I'm going to be the greatest home builder again, and I'm going to make. And what was driving me, I played the Rocky music, and I was like doing this deal, and what was pushing me was resentment. I'm going to show you, and that's what was driving me. And what happened was I couldn't make the comeback in 24 hours.
Right.
I wasn't looking at the big picture. I wanted to make the comeback overnight. And it wasn't happening, so I would get frustrated, and I would go back to when I was mowing the yard.
And that comfort and that feeling.
And I never got it. I got it for maybe a chillisecond. But I would just do more, everything to get that to stay in the now. I wanted to get right here, right now, and I couldn't. I wanted that, See, I'm a sick man. I always remember this. I always remember, I never remember I never remember that. I never remember, put your hands behind your back, you need to get in the car, you're coming with us. I don't remember that. I don't remember if you produce a dirty UA again, you will go to prison for a long time. I don't remember that. Today I do.
Yeah, today it clicks. Today it's there. So you're someone who went from being this high roller home builder.
Right.
So on the outside, people look at you, probably wish they could be you.
Right.
I'm guessing. So there's other people out there that were comparing themselves to you, wish I could be like that. Maybe they're going through the same process. And then progressively? Did it happen overnight? How long did it take to lead into this experience?
I knew I had a problem.
Right off the
I knew.
always.
And every addict that I talk to, every addict that I talk to, or anybody who is, I always tell everybody, listen, if you're having a discussion or a thought about alcohol or drugs, look at it. Look into that. I don't have a thought or a concern about low-fat milk. I don't think about it. If it's in the refrigerator, yeah, I'll have a glass of milk. It's not a mental obsession. But if I'm sitting here thinking about going, in 2 hours, I get to go to happy hour. And I'm going to go for one reason, and that's to have a drink. I'm telling you, coming from M2, we need to look at that. Why can't we go, okay, in 2 hours, I'm going to go to go serve someone else. I'm gonna go do some community service, or I'm gonna go be alone with God, or I'm gonna go spend time with my children. That's where I get my inner peace. Okay, as opposed to going and chasing visible things, chemicals to change my invisible problems, so I can knock the edge off. So what happens to me? I knock the edge off. Now I want to keep the edge off. And I'm willing to go to any lengths to keep the edge off, and that is get rid of you, get rid of them, and just keep putting it in, and then I'm going to steal from you, and that's where it ended up. So for people who are successful right now, but struggling with alcohol, they know.
Somewhere in the back of their
We
head,
know.
they got it.
We know that when we are alone and we're in our $50,000 bathroom, and the door's shut, and it's me in the mirror, and I look at it, and I'm like going, I don't physically feel good today as a result of alcohol. We know it. We know. You know why we know it? Because that's why it's called alcoholism. That's why there's a name to it. That's why it's out there. Because if it didn't exist, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Right.
Right? So it's there. And so if that thought even enters your mind that you might go, you know what? I drank too much last night. And I do this a lot. There's something wrong with me.
Something's going on.
And we know why we're drinking. We know it. There's denial of quitting. That's where the denial is. The denial is, you mean I got to give this. I'm not going to give, if you had my life and you don't tell me what to do, John, you're telling me to drink, you go do you. Look at me. Look at me. I got a job. I got a house. I got kids, all this stuff. Not for long. We don't drink up. We drink down.
Drink down. And so then think of the families who are listening to this.
Yes.
And their loved one is in treatment, maybe for the third or fourth time. What's the message you give to them?
Great question. Great question. And that's the best question I'm ever asked. If you have a loved one who is struggling with alcohol or drugs, and you think he has a problem or she has a problem, and they're in denial, here is my suggestion, okay? Because we provide suggestions, right? But my suggestion is simply this. Get that person with another person in recovery. Okay? So if your husband, let's just role play, your husband is struggling with alcohol, get another man alcoholic that is in recovery to meet with him. And let them talk and leave the room. Leave the room and let those two talk and let them work with one another, because there's nothing more powerful than one alcoholic working with another, one drug addict working with another. Nothing more powerful. There's nothing more powerful than one NFL football player working with another NFL football player.
Someone who understands, someone who gets it.
Right. Because when a non-alcoholic and a non-drug addict comes to me, they ask one question, and I go drink every time. You ready? Why do you drink? Why don't you just put it down? And I would get so angry and so mad. And the reason why, here's where I'm at today, John. The reason why I would get so angry and mad, I didn't know why. I didn't know why. But today I do, as a result of the fourth step. I did a moral inventory of my immoral behavior, and I found out this is why I did it. This is why I did the things I did. I can answer these questions now. I can go out and speak to the public and say, this is why I did the things that I did. And so that is the answer to your question, is one alcoholic working with another. Men work with men, women work with women.
I caught that. I wanted to emphasize that a little bit. Can you speak to that some? We see it in treatment. They call it the rehab romance, and to watch out for it. Can you speak more about it?
It's real. It's very real, because when I take alcohol and drugs out of my system, okay, and I do step one, I admit that I'm powerless over alcohol and drugs and that my life is unmanageable. And I'm at a treatment center, and I'm starting, treatment centers are great because they address, number one is we got to stop the bleeding, okay?
Right.
We need to stop the bleeding. We need to address the body. And then great places like Healing Springs, we address the mind, and we set the road up for long-term recovery, all right? Number one is I can't love anybody until I love myself, okay? Who wants to be with me that I'm in early recovery, all right? I got a bag full of resentments. I got a bag full of unresolved amends, all right? All these feelings that I have, and what happens is I meet a girl that's in early recovery, and she's my new drug of choice. She becomes my new drug of choice. And now what happens is two sick people are getting together. I'm sick, she's sick, but we're in recovery. I got nothing to offer her yet. I'm not saying I'm engaged to a person that's in recovery, but as a result of once I work the 12 steps, I learn how to trust God, I clean house, and now I'm helping others, all right? I've got something to offer her, okay? I know how to process resentments. I know how to process fear. I've got these tools, and so does she. And now our conversations are healthy. Our conversations are like this, which creates more intimacy. Because listen, before we're alcoholic and drug addicts. We suck at relationships. We're horrible at relationships. And so that's why it's deadly. So many relapses are because the number one cause for relapse is resentments. Okay? Well, you get in a relationship, the resentments happen. Okay? Oh my gosh, I've been with this girl for 4 days now, and now she's not looking at me. Okay? Well, what it is, now I'm getting in fear.
Now the head's rolling.
The delusional thinking. I start creating this movie in my head that I've done my whole life. She's talking about me. I'm in fear, but I'm not going to talk about it because I'm still struggling with ego, right? I'm not going to talk to my counselor about it because I'm in too, And I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to be exposed to that because I don't know how to do it, all right? So now I got a resentment. Towards the girl that might be working a program. Now I'm in a resentment because she doesn't like me and said, I'll show you, and I go relapse. It happens all the time. Very deadly.
Yeah, it is, and there's a word I'm going to translate a little bit because I'm working in the treatment center. We hear all the different forms of recovery come in. So we have like Celebrate Recovery, we have Smart Recovery. Of course, we have the 12 steps in there, and there's probably multiple more. Refuge Recovery is another one that people talk about. And the languaging is always sometimes a challenge from one to another. Like you talk about being powerless over alcohol, and then maybe a therapist calls that the neuroaddictive pathway in the brain.
Wow.
Exact same thing.
Wow. Yeah.
Like I can literally walk you through what's happening in the brain as you go through it. It's not enough. We have to also have program healing support, sponsorship. And then we talk about the word, people say disease or sick. So when you say it, I don't hear judgment. Like I don't hear saying you're sick, you're bad, you're terrible. I hear you saying almost like a loving doctor would talk to a patient and say, you know what? You're sick, you have like the flu, a cold, whatever it is, and you're contagious. So if you get with somebody else, that's going to cause more sickness. So watch out for it.
Right.
And so when people hear that, I always want to make sure to translate it because I get the beautiful message you're giving there. Is don't go in when you're in a wounded place. Your wounds are going to bleed onto someone else. You're going to hurt each other.
That's right.
And you're going to cause a problem. And the same thing with that. With the human brain, we're in agreement that there's something going on with us. Yeah. And some people explain it through biology or neurobiology. Some people explain it through the 12-step program. Right. Even disease itself. When we talk about, I worked in preventative medicine. How do you define disease? And we could go through and look in the dictionary for it, but you can walk to an office, you see a doctor, and you could say you have heart disease. That's based off of all these criteria that you see, right? Well, what if they do a separate approach? Maybe it's just they need certain medications, diet, lifestyle change, and all those markers now go down where they don't blip on the radar anymore. If someone else did a test on them, they would say you don't have a disease. So, what does that really mean? But the interesting thing is, if you stop doing what you're doing, you go back to the old lifestyle, you have a disease again. Right. And so the potential is always there.
Right.
Because some people, I know they hear that, they go, not me, I'm okay, I've done treatment, everything else. But the potential is always there. If we don't do our steps or our therapy or everything else,
Right.
we go right back, or even worse sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's for me, what's working for me is, and I just passed the 2-year mark of continuous sobriety.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's
much.
big.
Yeah, and it's huge, real sobriety. I mean, really working a program and 2 years. And for me, recovery and sobriety is a spiritual program. And the more that I work on my spirituality, I address the body in early recovery, detox, get everything out. And I mean, just it's very serious. Okay. And that's where treatment centers are so awesome for me, because I need to be monitored I need to be hospitalized, but the spiritual aspect of the program is I look back on it now and I am realizing that alcohol is not my problem. Alcoholism is my problem. Drugs aren't my problem. Drug addiction is my problem. The more sobriety that I'm getting, John, I'm looking back at the first step and I'm realizing I am addicted to sin. Okay, there's a church word, hang with me, okay? Sin. That's what I am addicted to. What does that look like? Translate that into what I'm addicted to is I want visible things to fix my invisible problems, right? You're telling me to believe in Casper the Friendly Ghost and to stop drinking and doing drugs and that's working for you? What? But no, but that's where I'm learning today is that inner peace and I'm feeling things with spirituality and it's working for me. John, I never thought I'd be talking like this, ever. I thought I would never say the things that I'm saying today. And that's what recovery is all about.
That's the power of it.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, and again, I love the translation. You said it yourself, sin. So anyone who hears that, there's a red flag for some people, they're going, amen.
Right.
Right. So I love that you say it. We could say in therapy, external locus of control. We are addicted to everything out there, whether it's going to be shopping, the pornography, the food, other people, relationships. Yeah. We're addicted to something outside of us to feel good on the inside.
Here's the scary thing is, there are people who, and I'm addicted to everything, but I mean, there are people who are addicted to their job and their career, and they don't realize that they're powerless over it. They don't realize that their life is unmanageable. How do they hit bottom? I mean, at least mine was so dramatic. I got to hit bottom to lose everything, to realize that I had to give up all control for me to realize I never had control in the first place. So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that now I get to realize and look at it. The scary ones are the ones that don't have the stigma, right? The stigma, because we push people to be workaholics. Go get it.
Society supports it.
Society supports it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel sorry for those guys. And I know these people, and I see it. They have millions of dollars. And from the outside looking in, but when I'm with them, they're the most lonely, darkest, miserable human beings I've ever been around. And when I talk to them, they can't even hear a word I say. That's how dark, and that's scary, and that's sad, because I have a program today. And these are literally people who are constitutionally incapable of being honest. They don't get to go to treatment. I want to go to treatment. I've got to go do a 60-day treatment to get away from my job because it's making my life unmanageable. I'm about to lose my family because I work too much and make too much money.
Yeah.
That's real. That really happens.
Yeah, it's too much. It's overwhelming.
And there's no product there. There's no stigma. So the great thing is I'm glad for the stigma. The stigma got me clean and sober.
Yeah, it's powerful. So how do people learn more about you and find you?
You can go to m2therock.com. That's the letter M2, therock.com. All of our platforms are on our website where you can follow us. We have a show Monday through Friday from noon to 1 Central Time where we talk about drug addiction, alcoholism, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We have great guests like yourself that'll be on the show. We have celebrities that are on the show. We have people that are just normal people that are on the show. Whatever normal is. I think normal is a button on a dishwasher.
Yeah, we need to redefine normal.
Yeah, but we have all sorts of people basically bringing, not basically, all we talk about is solutions. We don't get into debates like we should lock the borders down. We don't get into politics. We don't do any of that. That's a luxury I don't have. I don't have that. I got to get right into the solution. And that's what we talk about on the show.
Well, M2, Michael Molthan, thank you for being on the show. We
Thank
appreciate you.
This was great.
It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to being on your show.
Absolutely.
The story will continue.
Yeah.
So we'll tune in next time. Again, thank you, M2 The Rock. Watch his show. It's a great message. He's helping a lot of people out there. And we'll see you next time.